Have you ever wondered where the money for the Royal Foundation really goes? The year 2024 saw the foundation pull in an astounding £12.1 million. At first glance, this figure seems nothing short of impressive, generating a sense of awe and respect for the royal family's philanthropic efforts. After all, £12.1 million is no small sum of money. But let's pause there for a moment. As we begin to peel back the layers of this financial onion, the tears may start to flow. And not tears of joy, mind you. No, these are tears of surprise, confusion, and perhaps even a dash of disappointment. Because, my dear listeners, when we scratch beneath the surface, things start looking rather murky. Out of the £12.1 million received, only £1.16 million were given out as grants to other institutions. That's right, barely a tenth of the total income was donated to other worthy causes. It's a figure that feels somewhat underwhelming, doesn't it? But wait, it gets even more interesting. The cost of fundraising alone gobbled up £1.55 million. Yes, you heard it right. More money was spent on raising funds than was actually given out in grants. The majority of the money, almost £10 million, was conveniently categorised under charitable activities. But don't let that term fool you. It often includes in-house projects, staff salaries, public relations campaigns, and glamorous events designed to make the royals shine brighter. So while the headlines from the palace may scream record-breaking charity work, the reality tells a different story. The majority of the income seems to be funneled back into the brand of William and Kate, rather than being used to make a significant impact on the world. This begs the question, is this a smart branding strategy or a shameless scam? But when we scratch beneath the surface, things start looking rather murky. Out of this staggering £12.1 million, only a meagre £1.16 million was given out as grants. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Royal Foundation, a charity by name, has only allocated a small fraction of its total income to the very cause it purports to support. The remainder of the funds paints a different picture entirely. Now, one might envision a charity where the lion's share of the resources funnels directly into the hands of those in need. Regrettably, this idealised image is far from the reality of the Royal Foundation's financial practices. In fact, the proportion of income designated for grants is astonishingly low, accounting for less than 10% of the total funds received in 2024. This begs the question, how does a charitable foundation justify such a minuscule allocation to its supposed mission? The answer, it seems, lies not in benevolence, but in a carefully orchestrated public image. The Royal Foundation appears to be less concerned with the altruistic distribution of its wealth and more invested in the creation and maintenance of a favourable public perception. The true beneficiaries of the remaining funds are not the disadvantaged or the underserved, but rather the foundation itself. The majority of the income is funneled back into the organisation, funding its operations, staff salaries, publicity campaigns, and high-profile events. In essence, the Royal Foundation is not so much a charity as it is a self-serving entity, using the guise of philanthropy to further its own interests. So, where did the rest of the money go? Well, the answer to that might surprise you, or perhaps not, given the Foundation's track record. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the financial intricacies of the Royal Foundation in the upcoming segments. And remember, all that glitters is not gold, or in this case, charitable giving. You might be surprised to find out that the fundraising costs alone took up more than the actual grants. Now let's peel back another layer of this financial onion. The fundraising costs, those necessary expenses to bring in donations, they amounted to a hefty £1.55 million. Yes, you heard that right. That's more than the money given out as grants to other institutions. It's a bit like throwing a lavish party to collect donations for the needy and then spending more on the champagne than on the cause you're supposedly supporting. And it doesn't stop there. Almost £10 million, the lion's share of the total income, was listed under a category called charitable activities. Sounds noble, doesn't it? But here's what they don't tell you. Charitable activities is a catch-all term that can cover pretty much anything the foundation wants it to. In-house projects, staff salaries, PR campaigns, and glitzy events designed to make the royals look good, they all fall under this umbrella. So, while the palace headlines may shout about record-breaking charity work, the reality is that only a small fraction of the total income was actually handed over to other causes. The rest? Well, it mostly funds brand William and Kate, It's a bit like a fancy dress party where the royals get to play the part of world-changing philanthropists, all the while keeping the spotlight firmly on themselves. This is the game, it seems. Dress up self-promotion as charity, keep the limelight, and hope the public doesn't check the accounts too closely. Because if they did, they might start asking some uncomfortable questions. In reality, the majority of the money was spent on activities designed to promote the royals. So, are we looking at an institution that's changing the world, or just another royal PR machine disguised as charity? The numbers, it seems, tell their own story. While the headlines boast about record-breaking charity work, the truth is somewhat different. It's quite a revelation when you start to peel back the layers. Out of the £12.1 million that the Royal Foundation pulled in back in 2024, a mere £1.16 million was actually distributed as grants to other institutions. That's less than 10% of the total income. The rest, well, the lion's share, nearly £10 million, was allocated under the umbrella term of charitable activities. But don't be fooled by the label. This category often covers the cost of in-house projects, staff salaries, public relations campaigns, and the staging of high-profile events. These are all activities designed to keep the spotlight firmly on William and Kate and to maintain their brand image. So, while the headlines trumpet about the record-breaking charity work of the Royal Foundation, the reality paints a different picture. Only a small fraction of the total income was handed over to other causes. The majority of the money was used to fund the brand of William and Kate. What we are witnessing here is a classic case of dressing up self-promotion as charity. It's a clever game. You keep the spotlight on yourself and hope the public doesn't check the accounts. And let's be honest, if your fundraising costs, which were £1.55 million, outstrip your donations and your grants are a mere drop in the bucket compared to your income, can you really call yourself a world-changing foundation? Or is it more accurate to describe the Royal Foundation as a royal public relations machine in disguise? A machine that is less about charity and more about maintaining a brand image? The question remains, are they really a world-changing foundation or just another royal PR machine? So what do you think? Smart branding or a shameless scam? This question is at the heart of our conversation today. We've walked through the labyrinthine accounts of the Royal Foundation, where a hefty sum of over £12 million was raised in 2024. On the surface, one might applaud such a feat. It's charity, after all. But as we peeled back the layers, the picture became less rosy. The majority of this sum, nearly £10 million, was allocated to charitable activities, a term that seems to encompass a myriad of expenses, from in-house projects and staff salaries to glossy PR campaigns and grand events. These are expenditures that, while potentially beneficial, don't necessarily translate into direct aid or substantial support for other charitable institutions. Yet, only a fraction, just above £1 million, was given away as grants. This is a startling contrast, isn't it? Then there's the issue of fundraising costs, more than the actual grants handed out. The numbers paint a picture, and it's not one of a world-changing foundation, but rather a well-oiled PR machine. Transparency and accountability are the pillars of any charitable foundation. They are the bedrock upon which trust is built. Without them, can an institution truly claim to serve the greater good? Or does it merely serve its own interests, veiled under the guise of charity? We invite you to ponder these questions, to critically evaluate what you've heard, and to share your thoughts. Whether you see it as smart branding, a clever way to navigate the public's expectations while ensuring the survival of the institution, or a shameless scam, a ploy to mislead the public and divert resources for self-promotion, your insights are valuable. They contribute to a broader understanding and foster a deeper conversation about the role of charity in society. Thank you for watching. Drop your thoughts below. Looking forward to your insights.